Our culture is obsessed with glow ups, no matter how much we tell ourselves that it takes baby steps and we have patience and we know that it's a journey, it's not a destination. We can say all of that stuff to ourselves, but we cannot shake the deep desire that our culture, our society has just dunked us in that makes us feel like we want this glow up, this transformation, this extreme transformation that can be recognized not just by you, but by everybody in your life. Why is it that we feel like change has to be immediate or grandiose in order for it to mean something when we know logically, we know in our hearts that transformation is something that takes time. But that doesn't matter. We still feel like it doesn't mean something unless we have it big, and we have it now. Today, I want to talk about the bullshit that is overnight transformations. Not to be a buzzkill and say, like, oh, you just have to enjoy the journey. That's not what this episode is going to be at all. You should know me better than that by now. 100% it's about being able to back off and be okay with transformation taking time and feeling like your ideal self now or as soon as possible, which really, when we talk about it today, like can be something that you feel starting today. Do your one good deed this week and rate and review the show. It really does help get the show out to more like minded people who want to feel good enough without having to be perfect. And if you're somebody that feels that way, make sure to subscribe to Wellish. Take care of yourself. You know, you got to take care of other people, but you also got to take care of you and join our Wellish bestie friend group hangout moments because it's just so cozy over here and we love it. We're in a new month, so that's exciting. This fall, I want to talk about transformations because fall to me really symbolizes nature's way of reminding us of change and transformation. So I want to talk about that a little bit. But with change and transformation, you really have to trust yourself, trust the universe, trust, whatever higher power, even if it's your own higher self, it is that you believe in, and paying attention to your intuition and your synchronicities. So I want to talk about that. And then with that also comes just a lot of spirituality. So I thought we'd have some of those conversations as well. Plus, spirituality kind of makes me think Halloween a little bit, even though that's not like fully related, but it just makes it pops into my brain a little bit. So I thought it's worth mentioning. So to me, that was very fall, very October. So that's what we're really going to be focusing on. So today we're starting at the beginning with debunking that myth of overnight transformation. Let's start by talking about the problem of the overnight transformation narrative. It's so seductive to us for multiple reasons. And when I spell out these multiple reasons for you, you're going to be like, oh my God, no shit, that's crazy. The first one is the dopamine hit. Like when we have the idea pop into our head of who we want to be and we think of all of the ways that we can accomplish it, we start looking things up, we start reading books, we start watching YouTube videos, we start listening to podcasts. It feels so exciting. It feels like we've unlocked this new way of living, and it just like it brings so much dopamine into us that we want to do it now. I want to figure it out now. I want to do all of the things and start showing up as that person now, and I want people to start perceiving me as that person now. So it just makes us feel like we're on this high in a sense, and that we can't validate the high unless we have the transformation right in this moment. Another reason we get so sucked into the idea that we can transform overnight is because we are so groomed for instant gratification. Like we have the attention span nowadays of literally like a peanut. Like we need everything at now because we have all of this knowledge and all of this information and all these resources like at our fingertips. We can Google things now, we can chat GPT things, we can AI create images and books and do like just do literally anything that we can think of with artificial intelligence specifically, especially. And the fact that social media paints this picture of instant gratification that like we are seeing in live action with real people, not famous people that we saw in a movie or in a magazine or on the TV, but like real people that live in homes just like us, that live lives just like us, except now they've got all of these followers and they're making all of this money. And so they're traveling to all of these places and they have this wonderful relationship and this cute little family and they have a beautiful home and they're making all of this money and they have a great wardrobe. And like we're seeing all of this right in front of our faces in a way that seems so accessible to us, and we crave that instant gratification. Like, our culture does not like delayed gratification. It doesn't feel like there is as much satisfaction in that, as much dopamine in it happening slowly over time. And then the last one, and this is my absolute favorite one, is the external validation that we think will come from an overnight transformation. Maybe you're trying to prove to other people that you're different. Maybe you are trying to prove it to your ex. You're trying to prove it to your parents that treated you poorly. You're trying to prove it to the friends that said that you couldn't make something happen. There's some sort of external validation that's happening. Maybe you're not even trying to prove it to a specific person. You're just trying to prove it to yourself. And it's not going to seem real to you and valid to you unless an outside source confirms that for you. Let that be followers, money, compliments, whatever. You want the external validation. The external validation is how you thrive. It's what makes you feel like you're enough finally. And so you're wanting the overnight transformation because it's what makes you feel like you'll get that as quickly as possible, and then you'll feel good. Then you'll feel like, "Phew, okay, I got that." But we know that that's not the case. We know that's not how that works. And so then what happens is it creates shame that we aren't transforming into this version of ourselves overnight. And we love to use shame as motivation. And we don't recognize that we're not motivated from a place of grounded, genuine, inspired action. We're motivated from a place of self criticism and not feeling enough and thinking shame based thoughts and having a shame based identity. It's a dangerous way of thinking and living your life because you need tangibles in order to prove to yourself and the people around you that you're transformed. And we think that the easiest way to attain this is by making sure that the transformation is as grandiose and as immediate as we can possibly make it. But the truth is the tangibles don't actually make us feel transformed. It's nice to have those things. It's cool to have them. It's cool to show them off, but then you don't actually feel fulfilled. You don't actually feel transformed, and then it doesn't translate. What makes you feel transformed is by you turning inward and figuring out how to transform within yourself. And that's what takes time. And that's why it's annoying because it doesn't feel as meaningful suddenly when it's just you showing you how you're transformed. Transformation is more about who you're becoming daily compared to like this breakthrough moment. It's not going to be some threshold you cross or some destination that you reach that you're going to be like, oh my God, look, here I am. Now I'm transformed. It's the small daily action that helps you see and helps you believe and builds your identity that you are becoming this transformed version of you that you've always wanted to be. Now, obviously, you can take one big transformative action that makes you appear from the outside as this transformed person, but the goal is obviously that we want to be that transformed person. And the problem with doing the one big action that makes us appear transformed is that it's not sustainable and it's not authentic. And what's not authentic always shows. Like the truth always prevails. You can always see eventually when somebody is fake transformed, when they're just trying to pretend like they're this new version of themselves and they're elevated and they're, on this high frequency and it's a performance compared to somebody that just genuinely believes that they are transformed, that identifies with this identity and feels it on the inside. And that identity, that knowing radiates out without you having to do anything to prove to other people that you're a transformed person. Plus, because you know you're transformed, you don't feel the need to prove the transformation to other people. You feel the need to prove transformation to people when you know in your heart that you're not actually transformed. So, how do we make that change last? It's the identity based change over willpower change. Shifting your identity actually changes your view of yourself, and you shift your identity by taking small actions so you can begin to believe that you are the new identity. So, if you're somebody that wants to believe that you're sexy, you have to first define what that means for you, not what that means to the society at large, but what that genuinely would look like for you, how you as an individual could embody that behavior, that thing that you want to become. And once you have those answers, you can start showing up in your life in that way. You have to start navigating your life from the lens of I am this identity, and in this identity, I show up in this way. How would I handle this circumstance now that I show up as this identity? And you navigate life from that point of view. And over time, the more evidence that you build that you are this new identity compared to this old identity is when you just genuinely start believing that you are the new identity and naturally, without force, start showing up as that new identity. Now, if there's an identity that you want to achieve, you can absolutely do this for anything that you want to achieve. But the problem that a lot of people take is that they want to identify with a certain identity because they think they should, not because it's genuinely who they are and it's authentic to themselves. So if you want to identify as something and you constantly feel like you have to force yourself to do it, I encourage you to look inward and try to figure out why you don't identify with that. If it's actually truly something that you do identify with, it's going to take a little bit of bravery to look yourself in the face and say, maybe this isn't me. Maybe this isn't something that's for me or what I want. And I need to reevaluate and readjust so I can make this be something that is more in alignment with who I truly am. Just relying on willpower doesn't get you anywhere long term because motivation is fleeting. And obviously, we're going to jump on whatever motivation we have. Like anytime you feel motivated, anytime you get motivated, anytime that like surge comes inside of you, we're going to ride that wave, baby. We'll take whatever we can get, but we cannot rely on it. So that's why we don't want to put all of our energy into it. And we want to put our energy into identity based action. So I know I promised you that I was going to help you feel like the ideal version of yourself now. But first, in order to achieve that, we have to find acceptance and surrender in the fact that transformation takes time and that transforming overnight is a myth. It is not something that genuinely exists if you're authentically transforming. So we have to get comfortable with that compounding effect. That one tiny choice, repeated daily, builds evidence that reshapes our self image. And we do this by normalizing the everyday work. Like it's not going to be the backpacking trip through Europe or becoming irresistibly attractive or becoming famous or becoming a millionaire or inventing the wheel again. Like that's not what's going to determine whether or not you're transformed. It's doing the things in your day to day life that make you feel like you are transforming. It's setting boundaries with yourself and with other people. It's taking care of yourself physically. It's waking up at a time that you want to wake up at. It's not doom scrolling all hours of the night. It's getting into therapy or getting a mind body healer, a Reiki healer, a life coach, whatever it is that works for you. It's dancing in your kitchen. It's taking walks outside. It's spending time with friends or spending time with family or being more mindful of how you're dressing and how you're taking care of your hygiene. And if all of those things are in alignment with your dream self, if your home represents your dream home, even if it's not your dream home, how can you get it to be as close to what you want to have in the future now? Are you starting to see how we can feel like our dream selves now, even though transformation takes time? Like, even though we're doing all of those things and those things take time, and listen to last week's episode about the knowledge to skill gap, that we can know what our ideal self does, but that doesn't mean that we're going to perfectly practice it every single day, every single moment. We're not going to have all of these things right at once because right now you're listening to Wellish and you decided that you want to make that happen. But you're going to start to notice it more and be aware of it more and incorporating those things into your life more. And that's why it takes time. But that means that we can start feeling like ourselves as soon as possible. Stick with me though, because I still do have a way that you can feel that way immediately. I think one of the biggest things too with showing up every day as your dream self is trusting that that energy is going to shine through. Like you will transform and it will be recognizable, but you just have to trust that that energy will come through because you are honoring you as much of the time as possible and acting as authentically, as much in alignment with your true self as you possibly can, knowing that that will show through. Like people will see that. Just the same way that people see when you're not being authentic and you're being performative and you're being weird. Think of the compounding effect like going to the gym. You don't go to the gym once and then suddenly you're transformed into the version of yourself that you want to be. You have like all the results and the perfect body and all of the strength and all of the endurance and all of the things that you want to have after going to the gym one time. It takes going to the gym multiple times and being intentional and dedicated and consistent with what you want to do. Being intentional, dedicated, and consistent does not mean doing it every single day, every single moment for as long as you possibly can till the point of burnout. Just to clarify that, that's not healthy, but it does mean doing it more of the time than not. I think about times in my life that I've had this urge to have this overnight transformation, and how only having the overnight transformation is when the transformation will actually hold meaning. And a lot of the time, that's after people have fucked me over, or I'm having a big life shift, or I'm about to see a bunch of people that I know, or I simply just get a hair in my ass that I want to transform and be somebody new, that the old me isn't serving me anymore. And every single time I want to do it so big and so noticeable that the people around me have no choice but to recognize my transformation. And that's the only time that I'll actually be able to consider myself transformed, as if other people can recognize it and see it as well. And I mean, like, when we're saying that out loud, how sad, you know? Like, that's not authentic. That's not authentic transformation. And that's not transforming for genuine reason within yourself. And if you're not transforming for genuine reason within yourself, you're not going to authentically transform. And coming from a person that really has experienced extreme transformation, there is never a time that people are suddenly worshiping you and kissing the ground you walk on. And I know that's not what you're expecting, but it's not like people are providing you with some intense or any validation on it. Maybe if you have like a confident, good friend in your life that hypes you up, maybe you'll have the confirmation in that way. Or maybe you're noticing changes in how people act around you, something like that. But like, that's the kind of shit that you have to look out for. It's like the subtle cues that you're picking up on. It's not like anybody's like actually spitting it in your face, like making it blatantly obvious that you're transforming. And that's when we get stuck in the space of needing the tangible transformation, because we start to do things that we know are widely celebrated on the internet, by friends, by people in your life. There are certain things that we know are celebrated in our society, like getting really sexy and sleeping with absolutely anybody that you want, or making a lot of money, or having this fantasy whirlwind love story, or having a really impressive career. The list goes on. We turn to what society would deem as transformational and impressive. The only thing that makes you feel transformed is your deep belief of your transformation. And once you have that deep belief of your transformation, it just automatically, without any effort on your behalf, radiates outward. And here's the kicker, is you are the only person that spends as much time with you as you do. You are with you 100% of the time. And so that means no matter what, no matter how much you try to avoid or suppress or not look at it or like do something else to cover it up, you know the truth. You know the truth of your transformation. You know if you are taking the small actions that make you feel transformed. And so that's why those small transformation actions are so important, because you have to build the evidence that you are transformed. So when you are not doing those small actions, when you are not building the evidence, you just know, whether you want to admit it to yourself or not, you just know that you're not transformed. And that's why you have to make sure that most of the time you are showing up as closely in alignment with the version of yourself that you want to be, so that you can move towards transformation because you actually believe in your own transformation, compared to doing the things that you think will make you be perceived as transformed, because you won't believe in that and you won't feel it, and then you won't radiate it. You're not delusional for wanting the overnight transformation. I mean, that's literally shoved down our throats and made to feel so accessible through social media, because anybody can just make a highlight reel. Like, anybody can put cute little videos together of the best parts of their day, because you don't record the boring parts of your day. Like, there's nothing to record. It's boring. You know, nobody wants to watch that. It wouldn't get, it's not, it doesn't make good content. Like, I'm talking from the perspective of a creator. Like, it's not fun to make the boring parts of your day. Like, you simply want to make the things that feel fun and feel good. So Anybody can throw together cute little videos and make their life look good in the same way that even if you're not creating content, you can display the good, cool transformation, impressive parts of your life and not share any of the negative things and create this curated image of a transformed life. But that's not authentic, it's not real, and it's not genuine transformation. And so it's not going to show up as genuine transformation. But it's easy for us to think that we can have this overnight transformation because the videos make it all look so attainable. And a lot of the time, the videos are literally marketing that specifically, that we could have this transformed life if we just follow these 5 steps, or if we just incorporate this morning routine into our lives. And I hate to break it to you, but that's marketing 101. They're playing on your insecurities. They're relying on the fact that they are saying something that you will relate to and therefore want to buy their product, buy their program, follow them, whatever it is. They're trying to sell you on them. Our entire society lives in this fucked up bubble of unattainable achievement. No matter what that achievement is, it creates this illusion that we can attain the unattainable and leads us on a string like you're fucking running on a treadmill chasing a donut after this unattainable thing: beauty, fitness, confidence, money, career, whatever, because some people do attain it. But they attain it because they transform over time. They learn how to attain it over time. They learn lessons and face challenges over time. It is not something that you just do this thing and now you'll become what you've always wanted to become. It's never worked in the past, so why do you think it's going to work now? It's not. Trust yourself. Trust your inner knowing. Trust you to get you to where you want to go. And give yourself grace and space that it takes time to transform and become that person and to get to that place. And if you're a person that your good enough wound causes you to overachieve and overperform because you think that the more you do and the more you achieve will increase your worth, you're attacked by this 10 times more because you logically think that there is a way that you know you can achieve what it is that you want to achieve so that you can prove the transformation immediately as soon as possible because you know you're smart, you know you're capable, you know that you have what it takes in order to get to that goal. Because if you say to yourself like, maybe if I back off and I give myself time, that will feel like you're not worthy, like you're not good enough. You want to believe that you are good enough in order to do the unattainable that you've seen other people achieve. And now you're just stuck in this whole deep wound fucked up spiral because of it. The grandiosity is what you have to be patient about, though, because if you think about you 5, 10, however many years ago, you can see transformation and it's a grandiose transformation, but it's not going to be so grandiose in such a short period of time. And thank God it's not, that would be like jarring to have some huge transformation right away. The most impactful, sustainable, high quality transformation comes in time. And through all of this is how you start to feel like your dream self now, is you just radically start to live in alignment with that person. You radically believe that you are her. You radically believe that you are your higher self. And you do not give in to the self-criticism. You do not listen to the noise and the chatter that comes from our society. You just radically, delusionally believe that and get as close to living in this bubble of goodness and dream selfness as possible. And nothing has ever made me feel as transformed until I started radically believing that I was the transformed version of me, because you cannot think your way into transformation. You have to just live it. You have to believe it. You have to show up as it as often as possible. And really, like when you start to feel the self-criticism kick in, when you start to feel the sad thoughts creep in, when you start to feel your old self attack your new self, you have to be aware and build the habit of putting a stop to it. You have to build the awareness of recognizing when it's happening and saying, I no longer choose that reality. I choose my new reality. And the reason that people don't feel like their dream self now is because they give in to that self-criticism, because it feels like logic. It feels safer to go that route about it. It feels more stable and it feels more real to do that. You feel skeptical when you radically believe that you're the dream version of yourself because you don't have the external validation that you are that person, and it makes you feel insecure. Are automatically have these self-criticizing thoughts come in and these fears creep in, and you get insecure about you actually being that person and you wanting it so bad but feeling so inadequate and afraid and not worthy of if that's really you. And when you give into that mentality is when you don't feel like you. But if you just radically believe in the transformation, if you radically believe, even without proof, that you are that person, you can start to feel like her now. It just becomes more solidified and something that you can continuously live with in your everyday life if you build the actions, the habits, the practices that build the evidence that you are that person now, and your self image will shift into that new identity. Don't expect to show up as your ideal self 100% of the time, and don't make that a reason to stop radically believing that you are that person. The mistakes, the things that you get wrong, the times that you dip back into your old self and follow those old behaviors are part of this transformation. It's part of the journey into becoming this transformed version of yourself. But it's noticing when you start to break patterns and make changes in your life, like changing your dating patterns, changing your friendship patterns, changing how you show up in your day to day, your routine patterns. Like, notice those things and be proud of yourself for those things. You're learning and you're growing, and that's a good thing, and that's okay, and that's not a setback. You can still be the transformed version of you and not be a perfect version of you. And the transformation is so much more powerful for that, not in spite of it. Question of the week. I picked this question because I very much relate to it and I really feel like I have found something that helps me with it. So the question says, I'm constantly distracted by my phone and sitting on social media. I don't want to be somebody that doom scrolls, but I literally cannot help myself. Am I really not supposed to pick up my phone first thing when I wake up in the morning? How do I stop this? How do I get more present in my daily life? I swear to God, I'm so guilty of this. Like waking up and the first thing I do is grabbing my phone. I will say I am not much of a doom scroller. Like I will do it from time to time, especially now that I live alone. If I'm not watching TV and I'm sitting here not having anything to do and I just want to numb out, that's, I'm probably picking up my phone and looking at it, but I truly am not much of a scroller. I feel like that has more to do with the fact that like I have other projects that I like to work on. Like I don't just go to work and go through the motions. Like I have things that I want to do. Like I do have the podcast, but I also mean things like, learning different stuff. Like right now I'm learning about tarot. I'm learning about feminine energy. I'm learning about manifestation. I'm making plans and spending time with friends and family that like I'm filling I'm in a book club. So I'm like reading those books. I have other books that like I enjoy reading. So I'm reading those. I try to read 10 pages of a self-improvement book every day. I like to incorporate meditation into my day. I like to incorporate running and exercise and movement into my day. So like I'm doing so many things in my day that I don't really have the time or the space to doom scroll. And by the time I'm done, like if I do scroll, it's only for a little bit and then I'm probably passed out falling asleep. So I think that helps you be like a little bit more present. But in order to get into that habit, I do find that like especially when I am doom scrolling at night, I literally have to be like, okay, put the phone down. Like it has to be like I'm almost like scolding a child. Like you have to put the phone down. Like I can't just be like one more video. Like it doesn't work. I don't just gently make myself do it. I have to be like, put the phone down, you psychopath. So doing that I think is like something that's really helpful. But what I was talking about at the beginning that I've done that I think is really, really helpful for the morning is I created a vision board on Pinterest. And like I've never been a vision board girly. Like I've never taken the time to do anything like that. I just, I get really stuck in the mentality that I know what I'm doing and I can picture it in my head if I want to picture it in my head. But it's just like in the shitstorm of my mind and it's not actually laid out for me until I bring it out into the reality. Like when I journal my thoughts, or for this example, like when I made a vision board. So I didn't do anything crazy. I originally, when I said I was going to do this, I was going to get like a cork board and print out all these pictures and hang it up in my house and put like cute fabric on the cork board. Now, would I still love to do that? Absolutely. But instead, what I did was I just made a vision board on Pinterest. And so now, if I have the urge to grab my phone in the morning, which, is likely, I pull up that vision board instead and I scroll on that. Or and then like I'll maybe add things to the vision board on Pinterest and I still get the satisfaction of like being on the internet and looking at cool things and being online, but it's not just like doom scrolling and setting myself up for a shitty day. The other thing that has really helped me in the morning is setting the intention that every morning I'm journaling 3 pages. And so I try to do that before I get on my phone, and that has really helped me get more present and intentional and connected with myself before I grab my phone and start my day. Now, do I read those 3 pages and then maybe grab my phone and look at it for a little while? Yes, but at least I did my 3 pages and connected with myself first before I connected with like the ether of the internet. If you have a question of the week, the easiest way to get it to me is via DM. You can do that on Wellish's Instagram or on Wellish's TikTok. Both of those are at Wellish Podcast. Or if you want to connect with my personal Instagram, that's at sarah.rittendale. Thank you so much for being here. I absolutely believe in you. I love you so much, and I will talk to you next time. Bye, guys.